Good morning and welcome to the Grants Pass Center for Spiritual Living. Again, I'm Reverend Stephen Van Meter, and welcome to our Sunday service. And this month's September theme is Facing the Fear. Great monthly title. And today's theme is, do you have faith or are you had by faith? So it comes down to having faith in God or having the faith of God. And there's a difference. God does not have faith. God is infinite faith and knowingness. The only faith that God has is the faith that we, as incarnations of spirit, align with. Now, when we move from having faith in a prayer to having the faith of God, we are upgrading to a new way of being in faith and allow that knowingness of spirit to be all that we truly are. So this is the same energy that can be compared to, like, say, a medical doctor is in a restaurant and jumps into action if an emergency were to occur while they were dining out. And why do they do this if they're on call or not? It's because it is what they are. We like to think of ourselves in this teaching as metaphysicians. And we are also on call 24 hours a day. So faith is not something that we can flip on or off. It isn't even something that we can tune into. It is something that we are. This is what we teach our practitioners and what's taught in ministerial school. It's just like if you are a mother or a father or a brother or a sister, it's what you are for life. It's something that you have become. And there's no, you can't at times forget that you're that. You can't take that hat off and not be that. It's something that you truly are. It is the very essence of what we are as the infinite knowingness of God, as incarnations of source energy, Christ consciousness, great spirit, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same energy. So let us simply let faith be what it is, as us, as who and what we truly are with a capital T. It is what we are. Ernest Holmes argues that faith and fear are two sides of the same coin. If you are had by faith, you are coming from a place of fear. If you have the faith of God, you are coming from a place of knowingness, that there is only one power, and that all is possible through that one power. Again, if you have the faith of God, you're coming from the knowingness that there is only one power. You are coming from knowingness. So I want to talk a little bit about what faith means. You know, faith is not like bargaining, like, God, if you will just do this one thing for me, I will never eat chocolate again. Or if you do this, if you make this prayer happen, I'll never fill in the blank of something that you feel you shouldn't be doing. It's not begging or manipulating or pleading or beseeching. Before I was in this teaching, I used to, cry to make my prayers happen. because I didn't understand how the law worked. But I've come to know that it's a calm knowingness that all is well. No matter what human condition might be being experienced, faith looks beyond that which is a knowingness of the goodness of God. So faith is not superstition. It doesn't require rituals or dogma or magic to be achieved. As Ernest Holmes writes, in order to have faith, we must have a conviction that all is well. So in the face of a challenge, can you go to the place in your faith where you truly believe that all is well? The affirmation that I use when I'm faced with challenges is, this too is good, this too is God, and I demand to see the blessing in this right here and right now. It gives me that connection to my faith, to live from that place of faith, that no matter what is happening, I know that God means it for good. On The Science of Mind, on page 158, Dr. Holmes writes, in order to keep faith, we must allow nothing to enter our thought which will weaken this conviction. Faith is built up from belief, acceptance, and trust. Whenever anything enters our thought which destroys in any degree one of these attitudes, to that extent, faith is weakened. So we must keep our faith strong. We must practice our faith. We must do prayer work. We must believe in meditation and spend time in that stillness. That stillness is where the connection is strengthened. Holmes goes on to say, if one will have faith in himself, faith in his fellow man, human, in the universe and in God, that faith will light the place in which he finds himself. And by the light of this faith, he will be able to see God and good in all. And the light shed by this faith will light the way for others. We become conscious of darkness only when we are without faith, for faith is ever the light of our day and the light on our way, making that way clearly visible to us, even when all others, it may be beset with obstacles and the ongoing rough. Again, that is Ernest Holmes from The Science of Mind, page 158. Flannery O'Connor was quoted in saying in God in All Worlds, an anthology of spiritual writing, faith rises and falls like the tides of an invisible sea. You realize, I think, it is more valuable, more mysterious altogether, more immense than anything you could learn or decide upon in college. A paraphrased version of Thomas Merton's quote is, God approaches our minds by receding from them. We can never fully know God if we think of God as an object of capture, to be fenced in by the enclosure of our own ideas. We know God better after we let God go. We have to let God go to be God in us, as us. So faith is not something that is static. It requires practice, just like working out, just like walking a couple times a week to keep your body in fit condition, or whatever your workout procedure is for you. We build up our faith muscles through spiritual practices. when things are going well in life, so that when we hit a crisis, or as I say, when the shift hits the fan of life, those practices are not just second nature, but they become to us as our first nature. These spiritual practices can include prayer, meditation, visioning, affirmations, or something, whatever you develop for yourself that is your divine connection as God in form. This can be music, it can be whatever you choose it to be. That's your divine connection. But I'll tell you that prayer, meditation, visioning, and affirmations are a good way to get started if you need a jump start. This science of religious science, or the science of mind, has done just that for me. It has become who and what I am, or I have become what it is. Actually, this is something that we have been all along. I just rediscovered my connection to all that is. And when we can rediscover that connection, remembering who we truly are, all of a sudden life shifts. Things start to change. You might have a different perspective of life. So your life becomes an example of your faith. The one who has real faith doesn't need to evangelize their views or ideas. Rather, by living a life of faith, they will be a living demonstration of the power of the faith that they are. And they will be a beacon for others to follow, a light in the darkness. I heard this recently at a CSL ministers meeting last week, and I wanted to share it with you because it hit me right in my heart. They said that healed people heal people, and hurt people hurt people. See, it's a matter of perspective. We have to know that we are sitting in the seat of faith all the time. But sometimes our consciousness may slip out of that seat and land on the floor. And that's when we need to pick ourselves up and start all over again. So finally, now for something totally different. I love Monty Python when they say that. Now for something totally different. Here is something that has nothing to do with my talk, but I found it on the internet and I wanted to share it with you because it was just such good information. This is, it's the author unknown, and this was found on the internet, and it's something from someone in their 70s or 80 that I think we can all use this insight. This really reminded me of when I would have chats with my father. These are the types of things we would talk about. Again, this is author unknown. After loving my parents, my siblings and my spouse and my children and my friends, I have now started to learn to love myself. I realize that I am not Atlas. The world does not rest on my shoulders. And if you feel that it does, stop it. I now stop bargaining with vegetable and fruit vendors. A few pennies more is not going to burn a hole in my pocket, but it might help that person save for their child's schooling or help them through life in some way. I give my servers a bigger tip now. The extra money might bring a smile to their face. You know, they're working harder for a living than I ever had to. I stopped telling people I stopped telling the people if they have already told me that story many times. People telling their stories lets them walk down the memory lane and allows them to relive their past. I have learned not to correct people even when I know that they're wrong. The responsibility of making everyone perfect is not on me. Peace is more precious than perfection. I give compliments freely and generously. Compliments are a mood enhancer, not only for the recipient, but also for the giver. And a small tip for the recipient of a compliment: never turn one down. The appropriate response is thank you. I have learned not to bother about a crease or a spot on my shirt. I always try to look my best, but personality speaks much louder than appearances. And I walk away from people who don't value me. They may not know my worth, but I do. It's like trying to teach a pig to sing. It wastes your time and it annoys the pig. I remain cool when someone plays dirty to outrun me in the rat race. I am not a rat and I am not in a race. I'm learning not to be embarrassed by emotions, because it's our emotions that make us who we are. I've learned that it's better to drop the ego than to break a relationship. My ego will keep me aloof, whereas with relationships, I will never be alone. I have learned to live each day as if it's my last. After all, just might be. And I'm happy doing what makes me happy. I am the only one responsible for my happiness, and I owe that to myself. Happiness, my friends, is a choice. You can be happy at any time. Just choose it. So in conclusion, we practice faith. It's not just something that we just have and we forget about. Faith operates in us and as us every single day because it is what you are. We know when we're practicing faith when we respond to the world with love and compassion. Again, respond with love. Faith is an attitude of love, trust, and compassion. So this week, try practicing kindness with everyone you meet. In the end, faith is about surrender. Surrendering our ego and our need to be right, our need to fight, and allowing ourselves to be completely immersed in the divine. And so it is. Well, it's time for us to follow our teaching and go into prayer. So I invite you to close your eyes if that's comfortable for you, or take a soft focus on something that takes you deeper where you are. So I bring to the forefront of my consciousness, and I invite you to bring to the forefront of your consciousness what you believe the energy, the vibration of the divine is for you. What is that power that creates worlds, that creates everything, that animates everything? I know that each one of us is divinely infused as that power in form. It can be no other way. We are completely unified as the divine, as who and what we are right here and right now. So I say a prayer today about faith. No matter what may be going on in the world, and this is, again, not to diminish anything that's going on in the world, but to see it rightly, to turn to the power that creates love and invite that love into every situation, into every manifestation, into every thought, deed, and idea. When we invite love in, love, my friends, is the glue that holds everything together. And when we allow that love to become us, to become our faith, all of a sudden, life shifts, connections are made, people show up, things happen for the divine. And you are that divine place where change happens. You are the very love of the universe made manifest. So I may not know what you're walking through today, but I know God does. And right here and right now, I know that energy of creation has gone before us and is changing and shifting things for the harmonious way of the universe to express itself. And it is good and very good. Miracles are happening right here and right now. Your prayers are in the process of manifesting right here and right now. I believe this. I know this. And if you don't, you can borrow my knowing, because this is how I live my life. And I know this for each person in the sound of my voice, and even those who never hear this. I pray for everyone that we evolve through this plane of existence in a way that loves each other deeper, knows something is happening, and allows God to be God in us. So we give great thanks right here and right now. How good it is to know that something wonderful is happening. So we let go. We release this word directly into that living, loving law of the universe, where it is returned to us fully orbed and resplendent. How good it is to know something wonderful is happening as we respond with love, as we affirm it together by saying, and so it is. Namaste, my friends. Namaste. Well, it's time for our offertory. So I invite you to find your donate button or wherever you choose to give or however you choose to give. Let's recite our offertory affirmation that says, my abundance is another way of my faith expressing as I give freely today with love. Again, my abundance is another way of my faith expressing as I give freely today with love. So it is. Now we're going to say a little prayer for that offering. We here at the Grants Pass Center for Spiritual Living want to thank you for your gifts, your tithes, your donations that allow us to continue this energy in Grants Pass and the world. You are a blessing. So let's pray for that blessing. From the love of pure spiritual energy, these tithes and gifts have been collected. They're evidence of our faith, our belief, and our ability to manifest in this world of form. They do good work in this world. They bless the giver and the receiver. And they are returned into this community in a way that allows this center to be the heart center of the world of love And for this, we are all well blessed, as we affirm it together by saying, and so it is.